energy model and Y-shaped energy model. Single channel energy model and Y-shaped energy model. So, what is food web? So, food web that shows many different paths in which plants and animals are connected. Okay. So, what is food web? In the wild, animals may eat more than one thing, so they belong to more than one food chain. Okay, to get food they need. The small herbivores may eat lots of different plants, and carnivores may eat many different animals. So, because of this, these food chains are connected. As we know that what is food chain? Food chain is nothing but the pattern of eating and being eaten from a linear chain is called as food chain. You can see here in the diagram, the grass is eaten by the grasshopper as well as rabbit as well as mouse. Again, the grasshopper is eaten by the lizard and lizard is eaten by the hawk. Again, rabbit is eaten by the hawk, mouse eaten by the snake and snake by the hawk. So there is a interlocking system or a there is an interlocking of different food chain is known as food web. So you can see here the food web is divided into what we can see terrestrial or the aquatic or the soil food web. So here are the different organisms, they are interconnected, that is primary consumers, secondary consumers and the higher consumers, and after that decomposers, and decomposers convert the material into organic matter and that goes to the producers. Again, the food web and the food chain. You can see here the difference between the food chain and the food web. Here in the food chain you can see the interlocking pattern. The red color lines that shows the interlocking of the different type of the aquatic food chain. Here main source is the sunlight. From the sunlight, producers they photosynthesize on that the small microscopic organism known as phytoplanktons. On the phytoplankton, zooplanktons are there feed, and on the zooplanktons the small fishes feed. On the small fishes the secondary consumers feed. On the secondary consumer, tertiary consumers feed. On the tertiary consumer, that is quaternary consumer or the large fishes feed. Here in this, so here in the first, here in this slide you can see the difference between the food web and the food chain. Next, we are going to study about the energy flow models. As we know that there is a unidirectional flow of energy in ecosystem. You must or you always remember that flow of energy is always unidirectional. Okay, so flow of energy is always unidirectional. From the energetic point of view, it is essential to understand. First one is the efficiency of producers in the absorption and then conversion of solar energy into the form of chemical energy. As we know that, so from the sunlight the radiant energy comes, and that conversion of solar energy into the chemical energy by the plants in the form of photosynthesis. As we know that the use of this converted form of energy by the consumers, and the plants or the producers eaten by the herbivorous organism or the primary consumers. The total assimilated energy in the form of food, and energy is stored in the form of food. The loss of energy through the respiration, heat and excretion. So these respiration, heat and excretions are the metabolic activity of that particular organism, where it is a producer, consumers or the producers, consumers or the carnivorous or the top consumers. Again, the gross net production, that is total production. So this slide that shows the energy flow in an ecosystem. So without a constant input of energy, living things cannot function. So sunlight is the main source of energy for life on earth, as we know that. So photosynthesis is the main. So the flow of energy through an ecosystem starts with the plants and ends with the heat loss. Okay, and Here, the flow of energy in one direction from the sun to autotrophs, that is producers, and then to a various heterotrophs, that is consumers. The flow of energy through an ecosystem is one of the most important factors that determines the system's capacity to sustain the life. Here, how the energy flows in ecosystem. So plants are called as producers because they produce carbohydrates from the carbon dioxide, water and the sun energy. And consumers get their energy by feeding on producers or other consumers. Decomposition is the breakdown of waste and dead organism as well as plant called decomposers through the process of biodegradation. Here, the energy flow in an ecosystem applies the law of thermodynamics, that is the first law and the second law of thermodynamics. So the first law of thermodynamics, that is energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed from one form or one step to another step or one form to another form. The second law of thermodynamics, in the path of energy transformations, some energy losses in the form of heat or in the form of heat. Here you can see the model, that is single channel energy model. So you can see in this model that the solar radiation that is 118,872 grams calorie per centimeter square per year. This much of solar radiation that reaches to the earth. Okay, out of this is the total incoming solar radiation. Okay, out of this solar radiation, so the autotrophs that use 111 or 111 gram calories centimeter square per year, this efficiency of energy capture is only 0.10%. Okay, and this production is a gross production. Again, from this 111 kilo, that is gram calories per centimeter square per energy. This energy, so there is a 10% loss in each tropic level. For this 3.0 energy is required for decomposition. For the herbivorous, only 15% energy is given. For respiration, that is 23.0 energy is there and 70% energy is not utilized. So this 15 gram calorie per centimeter square per year, this energy is go to the next tropic level or given to the next tropic level, that is to the carnivorous. Again, so herbivory lost the 0.5 for decomposition, 70% again is not utilized and 4.5 is for the respiration. Again, in carnivorous, decomposition, that is trace amount of the energy is required, 1.5 is not utilized and 1.8 is required for the respiration. So in each tropic level, the energy is required for the metabolic activity of that particular organism. So you can see here the explanation of this single channel energy model. Okay, so here you can see the total incoming solar radiation, so 118.872 grams calorie per centimeter square per year. So this much of solar radiation that comes to the earth, from this only 118,761 gram calories centimeter square per year remains unutilized, and thus the gross production, net production plus respiration by autotroph is only 111 gram calorie centimeter square per year, with an efficiency energy is captured only 0.10%. It may also be noted that 21% of this energy or 23 gram calorie per centimeter square per year is consumed in metabolic reaction of autotrophs for their growth, development, maintenance and reproduction. So it may be seen further that 15 gram calorie per centimeter square per year are consumed by herbivores. So they graze or feed on autotrophs. So this amounts to 70% of the 17% of the net autotrophic production. So again, so the energy available for the carnivorous is only 10.5 grams calorie per centimeter square per year, or 70%, which is not entirely utilized. In fact, 3.0 grams calorie per centimeter square per year. Okay. After that, this is a more efficient utilization of resources than occurs at the autotroph herbivory transfer level. And carnivorous level, about 60% of a carnivorous energy intake is consumed in a metabolic activity, and remainder becomes the part of non-utilized element. Only the high respiration loss is compared with the 30% by the herbivory and 21% by autotrophs in this ecosystem. So the loss of energy is there in each trophic level. So in each trophic level there is a 10% loss is there. Okay, so here the Lindeman's 10% law of energy flow. Okay, so according to this law, during the transfer of organic food from one trophic level to the next, only about 10% of organic matter is stored as a flesh or in the form of food, and remaining is lost during the transfer or broken down in a respiration. Okay, so here you can see the simplified flow diagram depicting the three trophic level. Okay, so you can see here the herbivorous, carnivorous and the herbivorous, carnivorous and the producers. You can see here the pipes and the boxes. Here the what the pipes that shows the loss of heat loss in the form of respiration. Okay, again that is total. There is a total 3000, what we can say 3000 kilocalorie of total light, 3000 kilocalorie of total light falling upon the green plant. From that, approximately 15% means this 1500 kilocalorie is absorbed, from only which 15% is converted into the first trophic level. Okay, 15% is converted to the first trophic level. Okay, here again, in this, the net primary production nearly 15 calorie and second productivity, that is P2 and the P3 in the diagram, tends to about 10% as successive consumer trophic level. Herbivorous and the carnivorous efficiency may be sometimes higher, as a 20% at carnivorous level shown is P3, that is 0.3 in this diagram. Okay, so this shorter food chain, as we know that the shorter food chain again gets the more energy, and long food chain gets the less energy. So as we know that the pipes in the diagram that shows the successive trophic level, and what we can say boxes in the diagram that shows that is biomass. Okay, so this is the diagram of the each trophic level. We can see the loss of energy, that is 10% loss is there. Again, the single channel energy model. This model explains the unidirectional flow of energy. Whatever the energy captured by autotroph do not revert back to the solar input. That's why the energy flow is unidirectional. The system could collapse if the primary source sun were cut off, as we know that. So this energy model totally or wholly depend on the sunlight. So there is a progressive decrease in energy level at each trophic level. So shorter food chain, greater would be the available food energy. Okay, again this is the diagram of Y-shaped energy flow model. It shows the linkage between the grazing and detritus food chain, H for the herbivores and DC for the detritus consumers, and PR for the primary producers. Okay, So here in this food channel, the grazing food chain beginning with the green plant base going to be herbivorous and detrivorous chain begins with the disease, the detrivorous chain, that is begins with the dead organic matter acted by microbes and then passing to detrivorous and the consumers. Okay, so the important point in Y-shaped model is that the two food chains are isolated from each other. That is, this Y-shaped model is more realistic and practical working than a single channel energy model. It confirms the stratified structure of ecosystem. It separates the grazing food chain and detritus food chain. So DC for detritus food chain, and this is the herbivorous, this is the grazing food chain. Okay, so microconsumers, that is microconsumers like bacteria and fungi, they differ greatly in size in metabolism in relation. Okay, so here you can see the importance of the two food chain may differ in a different ecosystem. Okay, after that you can see here in the energy flow in ecosystem. Okay, we already studied that is energy flow in ecosystem is energy flow in grazing food chain and detritus food chain. So sunlight is the important source. Autotrophs are known as producers. Herbivores depend on the autotrophs or the plant for their food, and after that these herbivorous, that is another organism, that is carnivorous, depend on this organism. Okay, or herbivorous again depend on the producers for their food. So here Y-shaped or double channel energy model. So the light and heat flow as well as important for the export and storage of organic matter. Decomposers are placed in a separate box to partly separate the grazing and the detritus food chain. In terms of the energy model, decomposers are in fact mixed group. Y-shaped energy flow is more realistic and practical than single chain energy flow model because it confirms the basic stratified structure of ecosystem, as we know that, and it separates the two channels, that is grazing and detritus food chain, in both time and the space. Again, the microconsumers, that is bacteria, fungi, and macroconsumers, that is animal, they differ greatly in a size metabolism in relation to two types of models. Okay, so here again Y-shaped or two channel model, it applies on both terrestrial as well as an aquatic ecosystem. In this energy model, one arm represents, or the one box that represents the herbivorous food chain, and other arms represent the decomposed, that is detritus food chain. So the primary producers are entirely different from each arm. This model also indicates two different food chain are in fact under natural condition, not completely isolated from one another. So it confirms the basic stratified structure of ecosystem. It separates the grazing as well as detritus food chain, and macroconsumers and macroconsumers are differ in size and the metabolic activities. Thank you.